In this video today, I'm talking about why you don't need new goals. You just need to be honest with yourself. For those who don't know me, I am Imani Adia, the founder of Soul 360 and the creator of the Limitless Method. I help founders, creators, and leaders just like you to align with their most limitless self. Today is one of those videos where if you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. And hopefully you'll be able to come back around to it and understand and receive what I am saying. In the very beginning phases, especially of me building my business, I had this whole notion of just like not knowing what I wanted to do. But the truth is, deep down, I did know exactly what I wanted. I knew how I wanted to see myself. I know how I wanted my business. I know what I wanted my business to be. There was just a lot of BS that I needed to let go of. There were a lot of my belief systems that were keeping me small. There were a lot of limiting beliefs that were making me not take the action that I needed to take to actually run the business that I wanted to run. And so to really close this gap between where I was and where I knew that I needed to be, there was just a level of honesty that I needed to have with myself, right? Number one, I got myself here. Number two, the only person that is going to get me to where I need to go is myself. And so how do I make decisions that align with where it is that I need to go? How do I take actions? But most importantly, what beliefs do I need to believe about myself first so that I'm able to step into this next level identity, or this identity, right, of being a business owner. And what's so interesting a lot about becoming is I actually think it's a lot about returning to who you are at a soul level. We come into this world and we don't have any limits upon us, but the limits that we start to gather is based off what the world tells us that we should limit ourselves to. And so with that being said, I think it's a lot about returning to who you are and returning to your most limitless self as well. And so to return back to your most limitless self, you really have to be honest about what is it that you're carrying? What is it that you believe? And how does it limit you, or how does it expand you into this limitless? And part of that honesty, right, is you really have to look at yourself and you have to be honest about the negative self-talk. You have to be honest about the negative held beliefs, but not only the negative held beliefs, but the beliefs that come from somebody else. And it's just like, why would you ever believe this about yourself? And so that is just a bout of honesty that people don't want to have to deal with. There's also this honesty, right, of you not doing everything that you can truly do to get to where you need to go. And what do I mean by that? I mean, maybe you're spending all your days doom scrolling and then you're like, well, I didn't get the results that I wanted. And it's like, well, you're not taking the actions that you need to take. It's a lot of being able to hold yourself accountable to truly get to that next level. And it's also just one of those things where it's like, you got yourself to this point. However it may have happened, you got yourself to this point. And if you're at a place right now where you don't like where you are, being able to say to yourself like, hey, this is the place that I got myself to right now. And I'm going to be the person to get myself out of this place. If you're just in a place where you're not happy, if you're in a place where you feel like is not a true reflection of who you are and what you are capable of doing, like you got yourself to that point, you can also get yourself out of it. The power is always yours. And anytime you start to forget and you start to allow other people to have power over you, that's where you really lose the plot. And that's where you start writing a narrative that is helpful to someone else, even though it may not be helpful to you. Another big thing about being able to be honest with yourself and to really get to where it is that you want to do is really being able to have trust with yourself. A lot of people have created environments, if we're really being honest, where you don't trust yourself. And what happens a lot, right, is people end up not trusting themselves. And just as you wouldn't want to be with someone that you can't trust, it's the same thing, even if that person is sometimes you. And how over time you really built up this wall where there's a disconnect between you and yourself. It can happen from the promises that you didn't keep, literally something as simple as you saying, I'm going to wake up at 5 a.m. the next morning, and then you not doing it and pressing snooze, and you continue to do that over and over and over again, tells you that you can't be somebody that you can trust because you're not going to show up for yourself. It can also look like you not being able to trust yourself because there has been a lack in being able to advocate for yourself as well. And so allowing people to talk to you any type of way, allowing people to treat you any type of way, allowing people to disrespect and cross over your boundaries, that's another way for you to break trust with yourself. Allowing people to disrespect and to walk over your boundaries is another way that you break trust with yourself. But just as you can break trust, you can also build trust by keeping the promises that you say to yourself, by allowing yourself to honor the boundaries that you have, by actually advocating for yourself and sticking up for yourself when someone is talking to you crazy and not truly respecting you. That is all of the ways that you can really show up for yourself to help build trust, right? Another thing that comes up is when you don't show up for yourself. Being able to show up for yourself not only builds trust, but it really shows you that you're moving in the right direction. And so if you say that you are on a wellness journey and that wellness journey looks like you becoming more fit, then what you need to do is that you need to make sure they're taking actions that align with this wellness, that aligns with this fitness. If it looks like you pivoting in your career to owning your own business, then you need to be able to show up for yourself in a way. And what I love, right, is Candy Burr. She talks about how if you make the goal so small that you can't fail, sometimes that's what you need to do. And trust me, I love a big, audacious goal that almost seems scary. And I think in the grand scheme of things, right, you can have that goal. But sometimes we just need to start small. Sometimes we just need to show ourselves that we can show up for ourselves. It can literally just be 1 hour a day of you showing up for yourself, but you really have to do it. And the way that you do it right is in action. So many times people will say, oh, I'm going to support you. And it's like, what does support look like? But also, how do you support yourself? You're going to show up for yourself. You're going to make the events. You're going to make time. Those are all the ways that you show up for yourself. And I think most of the times we forget, like, we are humans as well. We are our own people. And the way that you're able to even pour into others is by first pouring into yourself. And so it's literally about starting with you. It's about showing up for yourself. It's about building trust with yourself. It's about being honest with yourself. And when you're able to do those three things, then your life completely changes because you're doing everything that you need to do. Literally the limitless method. You are releasing, right? Being honest and letting go of what's not serving you. You're defining, right? How do I build trust and being very clear on what that looks like? You're aligning, right? By taking actions, carving out the time, putting it on the calendar for you to show up for your goals, to show up for your vision, to show up for yourself. It's 3 steps and it literally starts with honesty. And I know it can be one of the hardest places to start. It can be so hard to look yourself in the mirror and be like, this is where we are right now, and I'm unhappy. But the only person that can change where I am right now is me. This is where I am right now, and I want to be further. The only person that can change that is me. And knowing that you have the power and remembering that and honoring yourself. I am Imani Adia, and until next time, be limitless.